if you know what the good output is, you can use AI to your advantage to get things done quicker. If you don't know what good output is, how do you know if you're producing garbage?
With the apps built with AI right now, it's rich with the data.
Everything on the surface look great. The people that are in it and are using it, like we are, know that it is not bulletproof. It is a tool to be more efficient within guardrails.
AI can write code, I can't deny that. But what is the quality of the code is the engineer's decision.
When you look at it as a replacement, not an augmentation, you're going to have problems.
Hey Julian, welcome back to yet another episode of the Disruptors.
Thanks for having me.
How's your weekend? How's your days going on? Everything?
Good. Can't complain. We've always got more to do and always got things going on, don't we? So, but it's been good. Looking forward to this. This is a good chance for us to have a good chat. So,
yeah, same. Likewise, mate. It's a best chance you have, like a good meeting, a good conversation. I love it.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Yeah. So today we will be discussing around AI as a developer, and or a developer with an AI or engineer difference. We'll be discussing around the use of AI and being a developer and all that kind of thing. So let's get it started. Let's dive into it. What do you think about today exactly? Anyone can be a developer. Write me a code for this. AI writes it. What do you think about?
It's interesting times. Obviously, it's only getting more and more. There was a new model for Claude released yesterday, and they to do with their coding model, and yeah, it's just coming out more and more. ChatGPT releasing more and more models, etc. It's happening more and more. We're seeing products like Lovable and Cursor, etc., that are out there as these AI generated applications. There's so many hype stories about overnight SaaS products and all this kind of stuff, but there's so many. I don't know. There's so much potential there, but the way I look at it as is, if you don't know what you're doing, you don't know what's good or bad, and it comes back to everything, which is, if you know what the output's meant to be, if you know what you're meant to be doing, you know how it's meant to be built, whether that's technically, whether that's product strategy, whatever it is, could be anything. If you know what the good output is, you can use AI to your advantage to get things done quicker. If you don't know what good output is, how do you know if you're producing garbage or rubbish? That to me is the difference. And I'm seeing a lot of businesses, not just businesses, but I'm seeing a lot of developers, but also then businesses implementing things or doing things with, they're just doing things because it looks good on the surface, and underneath there's massive issues.
Yeah. Recently, we have experienced a lot of codes that have AI has generated. What my initial problem is, AI is generating codes that AI is using for its as a study material or a data for it is like feeding itself with its own food. Like so now I see already started seeing is taking garbage in and then getting out the garbage out actually. So and then yeah, basically that is what has improved a lot. There's no question about that. I totally see the value in using AI. We can't complain about it. We have to use it. And but developing a proper application out of it, I still question that.
Yeah, and I think this is where, sorry, just on that to comment on it, is just like, it's good, like if we use it as an assistant or as a helper here and there, within reason, within measure. When you start relying on it as like the primary source, right, of like the work or whatever, and it's as a replacement, that's where we start to see the issues crop up. I think like, there's no doubt there's like, you can generate smaller scale applications, your one-page websites, and even smaller scale applications, code here and there to, for example, you can, what would have previously have like been able to be, would have to be done by, for example, a developer, maybe a small Google Apps script or a NetSuite script or whatever, smaller things like that, then yeah, you can do that. But if you've had no experience doing it, you've got a possibility of running a script that deletes the whole database or whatever else. Like I'm saying, if you don't know what it's producing to a degree, then you've got issues. When you're doing smaller work, or like a one script or a small thing, obviously there's less at risk. Like there's less complexities, less moving parts. When you start using it as a replacement for like, okay, we're now going to be doing this large scale project and we're going to replace everybody with AI, that's the problem. I look at it as augmentation, not replacement. There's a big difference.
Exactly. Basically, in market also right now, what's there's over the internet, there's news going on. People, software engineers getting laid off because of this, because AI 40% Microsoft laid off. Something this kind of news is all around the internet. I see that every day. They are laying off 40%, but still 60% are there. That is the use case of efficiency. They have improved the efficiency. That's what I see. But they still need engineers to code. But looking at that, people are other people who are just smaller companies and then trying to build out products here and there. They are trying to replacing those engineers itself with the AI. If you are replacing the engineering team, then it's a vast difference there, vast replacement, if that makes sense. Because like yeah, the ground fundamentals of programming, engineering fundamentals of programming, the direction, it's the human that gives the direction. Last couple of days ago, we were discussing the same thing, right? Anyone can be developer, anyone can be engineer from the day one.
I agree. And there's a few memes and funny things, but there's the irony of it is it does have some truth in it. Is that like I saw someone post or something a while ago. It's like, don't worry about AI, no stress. In order for it to work effectively, stakeholders will actually have to give proper requirements. And it was like quite ironic. It's funny, but like it is like another point is AI can't read your mind, and it can't read between the lines even necessarily, right? Now, if you give it enough context and stuff like that, there it can see some things. But again, I'm a big advocate. It sounds like we're hating on AI here, but I think the most important thing, I had a discussion with multiple businesses just this week across a couple of points. Firstly, being businesses that have used AI in their products to actually replace engineers or work with engineers and ended up causing more issues than solving. Right? They've caused more problems with the product going backwards than actually moving forwards. Other businesses looking at how they implement AI in their business. So they're looking at how they can actually do it. And just across the board, fundamentally for me, it comes back to having the right systems and the right processes in place and the right data. And for example, what I mean by that there is you can go and get someone to even, let's say, for example, take a manufacturer here. They might want to do a small script on NetSuite. Fine. They might be able to get one of the in-house IT guys to generate a script and it works. Right? That's fine. Not a big deal. They then want to go and generate let's say an integration or a small web app that integrates with NetSuite. This is just a practical example I'm using. They use a product out there to just generate the actual application. They vibe code it, so-called vibe code it, connects up with NetSuite, all this stuff. They find out 6 months later that all of their data from NetSuite's been publicly exposed for the last 6 months. That's just a random example. They didn't know what they didn't know. They were doing the best to their ability. Everything on the surface looked great. Everything looked like it was working. And this is the point where a problem where I have with all of this hype and stuff. The people that are in it and are using it, like we are, a lot, know that it is not bulletproof, right? It is a tool to be more efficient within guardrails. It is not a replacement. It is an augmentation. I sound like a broken record, but you take the practical example I just gave for like a manufacturer, wholesale, whatever, and you look at the T app story that we're talking about. That was vibe coded by a non-technical founder who was very proud of being a non-technical founder. And look what happened. Now, it's not to say there's been other stories where there's been really big teams that have had those issues as well. It's not to say that is the only, just because of that. Like there is issues and there's apps that can be built incredibly well that still have vulnerabilities. Like it's not bulletproof, but it's more about the point to say it's not just a game kind of thing, right? Like as in there is actually serious stuff at play here and that this is going to happen more and more. and it's just going to, I personally think, going to continue if people keep using it for production stuff.
Exactly. Ideally, what I think about this AI tools is these tools are has helped me a lot. Basically, a couple of years ago, I used to have to go to Stack Overflow. I had to has to research for hours and hours to get one solution, and then I would try it, implement it, and then see what's the result and does it even fit me or not. That kind of decision. It used to take like hours. Right today, it takes like minutes. That has helped me, but using this, I need to know what input, what context, what kind of output I need to get. I need to know all this kind of thing. If I don't know what output I'm expecting, then it has taken me out of context and then went far away than the result what I wanted to go. And then if that kind of solution goes to the production, it's far away from where you're looking for. And then engineering actually is something different to development. Developer and then engineer are completely different. Anyone today can be a developer, but engineer, it takes years and years of experience. It's all about planning. It's all about scalability. It's all about maintainability. It's all about everything. It's not just one solution that we are like. Is you are not building a heart. You are building a trying to build today. You are building trying to build already trying to planning to build a skyscraper, right? You're not building a small house or something.
I think I don't know if this has been verified as well, but with this specifically with the tea situation, so I'm not. It's alleged in regards to I have read it in a few different places, but I haven't seen it verified. But it wouldn't surprise me if this is the case. That as they started to get some growth, they had to completely they tried to re-architect the whole thing because of the issues that they were having with scaling, and but they had the base code base. The fundamentally with the issue they had basically a Firebase. I think it was their Firebase data, but their object storage or whatever was public. I don't remember exactly what it was, but pretty fundamental flaw. And whether that was made by a human, I'd imagine it would have been, because I know with Firebase you have to get about 16 warnings to actually turn it from private to public, right? That whole thing aside, for me, it's more about the fact that think of it like this. Even today, or even 3 years ago, anyone could then write a book with AI, if you know what I mean. Like you could write a book or you could write blog posts, and there's some people that will get some quick wins out of it, if you know what I mean. They'll make some quick bucks or some quick wins, etc. But there's no long term win necessarily, right? It's a short term win. It's a short term thing that gets anything that comes. I guess it's that age old thing. Anything that comes easy to a degree is not worth having, and I guess it kind of applies in this regard, because when you think about it, as this becomes the new normal, the new average, let's say for example, we can spin up a couple of page web app that does a certain thing. If anyone can do that, then we move on to the next level. Do you know what I mean? Like it becomes the new normal. It becomes like, okay, what's the next level that we've got to achieve, right? And yes, there's going to be changes in, people have been saying for a while now, it's not going to be software as a service, it's going to be AI as a service, or you're going to have like you're just going to have conversational AI that does stuff in the background. Yeah, like there will be ways that's a UX thing to a degree of like how you actually interact with the applications and the technology. We're not even talking about that here. But I guess fundamentally I'm ranting around a bit, but he's fundamentally like talking about the fact that AI, when it becomes like, if there's no differentiation there, is what I'm trying to say, then what is actually your differentiation, right? What are you're just generating a generic app that everyone else has. And I won't even get into the fact of what we're talking about here, developer versus engineer, but then you've got all your intellectual property, all your data ownership issues, all these other things. But fundamentally, yes, you've got to know what good output is to use AI effectively.
Imagine if self-driving car was launched on the road first day they built it. It took years to get there. right? Is still not there fully, right? It because like there was a risk of like life and human lives and everything, so they didn't do it. Still, but similarly with the apps built with AI right now, it's risks with the data, it's risks with the scalability, it's risks with the everything. You're losing, yeah. Still, it needs to be properly planned out and everything there. If you like for a startup, they it was just an T app actually. Like this was just an idea. He clicked it, he did it, he or she, whoever did it, and launched it. But it caused a lot of like the lawsuit might cost him a lot, whatever he earned, anything like that. But yeah,
Because there's obviously significant issues with it, and I guess they didn't start out thinking like that. And again, I've said this before: the AI stuff for ideating, prototypes, MVPs, even for working on production stuff as like an assistant, as a helper, as an augmenter, it's brilliant. Right? It's not to say AI is bad. When you look at it as a replacement, I think that's just the simple message here. When you look at it as a replacement, not an augmentation, you're going to have problems. Imagine like, let's put it this way. This is actually an interesting question for you, and more about the fact, do you ever see in 10 years time where, like, let's just say a bank, a large bank, AI is basically doing all of their work and there's hardly any human oversight at all, right? So it's making deployments, it's making production changes, there's no oversight, there's no nothing.
you got a wrong I don't know. I don't want to say wrong example, but it will because like in 10 years time, do you see money there or cash money or not? Like that is also one of the biggest question.
In the bank, yeah, no, I would say yes, there will absolutely still be cash. That would be my opinion on it. But let's put that aside. The point of it is that no matter what it is, a bank could be digital currency, it could be physical currency, whatever. Are we going to trust the fact that we're going to have like no oversight, and that the production deployments changes, live database changes, disaster recovery? Who's handling all that? Who's doing all of that? Who's actually making sure, like, oh, when we scale now, when we do this, or we add this new service, or who's making those product decisions? Like, it's not even feasible to have all of that.
Marketing decisions, like yeah, yeah. Basically, what I see is like sure and certainly the resource used right now, the efficiency will increase for sure. We won't require human, won't require that many number of people. That's for sure. But decisions are to be made by the human. It's right or wrong. That AI can't take the responsibilities with that. Decision making, they can give the commands. Okay, think about this. This is the right decision. Do this, do this, do that. That's going to happen for sure. With software as well, with everywhere. That's what I see. But still, the brains behind won't be removed. The fundamentals won't be removed because it works on the fundamentals there. Still, the computer, there's still in today's day, it's still in binary. It's still 0 and 1 working. So it won't be removed. There's the idea of the uh, quad computing thing coming in. That's a different story. But still, right now, today, the power will be enough, the efficiency will improve. The whatever the computer is doing right now can do more efficiently with less power and all that. The efficiency with computer as well, the power of the computer will be
Essentially, it's just going to be able to do more in less time, really. So it's just taking the same thing more in less time. And um, I think for anyone listening, businesses listening, there's two key points from an AI perspective they need to be thinking about. Firstly is, how are our systems and our structures set up for AI, and how we're going to actually augment our processes. Most businesses that we work with are nowhere down the line of even digitizing properly their processes, let alone augmenting AI into them. And it's a lot harder when you actually start doing it than people realize. Sounds easy, and you can do your simple things easy. Like, you might be able to do a simple task that automates something with, a summary or something like that there pretty easily, which is, even that's incredible. It couldn't have been done 5 years ago, kind of 10 years ago. But to really take advantage of it at scale, it really needs how you're looking at your data, how you're setting things up. And then the second point with what we're talking about is we need to be vigilant and very intelligent about how we actually use it to generate our outputs and what that looks like. When we're doing content and written text, which is, let's be honest, the vast majority of what AI is used for at the moment is written stuff, emails, blogs, proposals, whatever it is. It's written, it's writing. It's, yeah. Now, a lot of, I'll take that or clarify that, in the general population is what I'm saying. The vast majority are using it for that writing, generating content, generating images, whatever it's for. That's the idea generation, etc. And then there are obviously a lot of, then comes that code and everything. I guess the point of it is to the businesses, though, is what are we doing to make sure that we're not releasing AI and developing apps or connections and whatever, integrations, etc., that are probably developed internally and are not up to spec.
One thing I would ask you is, do you see anytime soon in future AI spending your money, like taking the
It's a good
decision?
question. For me personally, you're asking,
Yeah, you,
would I let it?
yeah,
At this point, I would say no.
yeah. Same. It's your decision, right? Where you want to
Yeah.
invest, where you want to spend, how you want to enjoy, and with businesses also, like with coding also, with, oh, okay, I want this quality of code, or I want want to be want this to do this much, or anything like that.
Yeah.
That is, it's your decision, right? It will
Yeah.
be your decision.
I guess the way I'd look at it would be, no, at this point, possibly in the future, as in I could potentially be open to it. But another point I would say is that I can see it changing the way of buying behavior and everything else, where it's like, I have actually done all of this research and I've done this, I've done that. Here's your options. Click this to
Mm.
buy it and I'll buy it for you.
Yeah, yeah,
Right. But you're still making that decision, which is what you're
exactly.
saying.
Yeah.
But we have to be aware of the changes it will make to get to that, if that makes any sense. And then on top of
Mm.
that, then it starts to introduce a whole nother question of, like, this is, well, now we're getting probably way off our original topic,
Mm.
but it is a
Mm.
point that probably relates to it, is like, where are people going to start tuning out from this, right? Because we've had SEO, we've heard all this, and people somewhat became, I guess, desensitized to SEO early in the early days,
Mm.
because people were gaming the system. Even still, there was the SEO, you can still rank differently, but Google got much better at recommending the right stuff, right? But what happens when, like, AI at scale is recommending products and people, and then advertising becomes part of it, right? It's a pay-to-play
Mm.
game, right? Suddenly it's
Mm.
not actually based on factual information. It's just a pay-to-play. Where does the point where people, we're on the rise at the moment, right? It's
Mm.
going to
Mm. Yeah,
peak, and
yeah.
then we're going to drop off, because
Mm.
not through capability, I don't feel, of like efficiency and everything. I think there's going to be so much noise
Mm.
in general. There already is, like, so much noise of, like, it's too much, if you know what I mean. Like, it's too much and I'm done with it, kind of thing. I don't know. It's just an interesting, for me, I feel that's one of the parts of it. And I think the same thing's going to apply with, like, if anyone can spin up a SaaS application, there's just going to be more crap, right?
More crap. Yeah, it's something to do with YouTube content and everything. Like these
Yeah.
days, like it's more crap. Only noise. Only distraction. Initially, I used to love like YouTube content. There was more knowledge, people speaking. Now all AI is speaking. Now only the craps. Only the craps. How I'm. Yes, it's not that right now I'm influenced by. It's not that I'm not influenced. I get influenced with that, right? But and now I think it's, oh, I'm wasting my time on this, all this crap. It's not value for me. At the end of the day, is always comes back to PSV thinking. If am I, is it valuable or not for me? If it's not valuable, I skip it. Like, right? Yeah. I was trying to give you an example of like one thing that came to me is the YouTube content is these days. They are scary, like very scary noise around AI coming, oh, taking off your job, everything coming, everything. But when I use it on a regular basis, I see is that it's far away from there. Still, they're all free. DeepSeek was like, oh, it had changed already.
Yeah, it was all the everyone's already forgotten about it. It lasted 2 weeks, and then
DeepSeek was like, oh, what now? Nothing. No, ChatGPT is gone. DeepSeek is there. Everyone is like, but now when I did try a DeepSeek for 1 or 2 days, then what is it? It's not even worth it trying. So
yeah, it's just the tech world has a very short memory, I guess, is the way to put it, and very. The one thing you got to keep in mind, this is what a lot of people don't talk about, is so much of this, and we're getting well off our original topic, but it's all right. It's a good discussion, I think. But is um, so much of this is backed by investment and stuff like that. There, like people need to keep the investment prices up, and like the stock prices up, the investment going, and so it's all. As much as people probably don't want to admit it, I'm not saying there's not hype there. I'm a big advocate. I know both of us are, but there's a difference between misleading hype and like the reality of the situation is. There's no point making it out to be something that's not. It's very good in certain situations where we can use it. But all of like OpenAI, Anthropic, everyone have got raises they're doing. They're all trying to get more funding, right? They're all trying to get more investment. There's a reason there's PR for days, and they're pumping out like sponsorships with influencers and just so much. Even Lovable is, you can see that of LinkedIn, they're doing heaps of stuff with all these influencers, paid posts and everything, because they're trying to ride the train. Obviously, they're trying to ride. They're getting the investment, make bank while it's raining, I guess. But the point of it is that let's come back to reality for a bit. And I've always maintained, I know you have as well, but like it's the people that use AI that are the ones that are valuable, not people that are going to be replaced by AI, right? It's the people that use it incredibly well are the people that are going to be, and not just to generate some emails or whatever. It's not the point. But then we should have, as a business, fundamentally systems and a team that use AI brilliantly, and systems that provide them the ability to use AI within guardrails that represent the company, I guess is a simple way to put it.
just a message to our customer, whoever is listening, all the listeners. Basically, AI is just a tool. It's not a brain. Let's not take it as a brain. AI can do the research, bring it to your table, but you are the one to make the decision and then select what is right or what is wrong. And then select, basically, properly select is the right word, I guess. And then with also like developer and everything, developer anyone today, it's anyone can write in their LinkedIn job profile a developer. I will accept that, but I won't accept engineer. Engineer is a different thing than being a developer. You can write code. Writing code was a skill like 10 years, 15 years, 20 years back. It was the biggest skill. You need to learn a lot of things to write, but this issue has been solved by AI. I get that. I accept that. AI can write code. I can't deny that. But what is the quality of the code is the engineer's decision.
Yeah. I think in general, it's not a replacement for critical thinking, and that could be content, code, database, whatever it is, right? It could be anything, but it's not a replacement for critical thinking. And when you can tell when someone uses it as a replacement for critical thinking. And yeah, that to me is the biggest part of what we've discussed. And that's the important part of when we're architecting products or we're building products, applications, whatever we want with this technology, it's the same principle applies.
With dealing with digital transformation, doing always building some products, always building some products. So one of the thing is like we always keep in mind that PSV thinking, we are profit, scale, value. If there is nothing like that, then there's nothing. But with programming, I see a lot of variables that can be missed out by AI as well. There has to be security, scalability, maintainability, readability. Everything is there. It's not just documenting is like one of the key things. We've been a lot these days. There's been due to AI. I don't know. I should see the graph around how GitHub's data size has increased because AI is generating code a lot of day. A lot of code is going to be pushed to GitHub for sure. The data size has to be increased for sure, but those codes lack the proper documentation, proper maintainability, proper architecture to it. Everyone is developer these days, so and there's nothing engineer. It's a
It's not to say, obviously, there are people that are using AI, and they've done well like them. But again, it's where the critical thinking, the skills, and everything, they're using it as an assistant, as an augmentation, rather than a replacement. That's exactly what you're saying. Is a very, very important part of the piece. And I think one thing that needs to be noted as well. Let's take, for example, the bigger something gets, the more complex it is, the more AI is going to struggle with it, right? Because it might perfectly document and do the security for a small script or an app or a small thing, whatever, like a very small scale thing. As you start adding very complex, 15 integrations with third parties, microservices, all different databases, all very complex, different stakeholders, different experiences, whatever. Yes, it's just gonna obscure details. At the moment, the context windows are very small in general. Taking into account all of that, I'd actually, and just popped into my head then, I'd love to know what like the context window is of your brain and what you can, more the point of all the connections, right? And I think I've seen this before in like a stakeholder communication thing, where like when there's so many stakeholders, there's so much more to go wrong, right? Well, if you've got a one-to-one relationship, it's so much easier. It's absurd the amount of, when the dependencies of all the different pieces corrupt, the amount of dependencies and possibilities goes massive. Like it's huge. It's the same principle here, I think, is that, again, for the routine tasks to a degree, for the more straightforward things, then yes, absolutely, it's easy. You should be using it. But for the bigger stuff, it's like, it's an assistant. It's a tool, as you said. It's not a replacement for critical thinking.
yeah. Take it as a library research tool. It's great. It does a good job. It gives you ideas and all that, but you can't. You basically you understand your business properly. You understand your customer properly. You understand your legacy, everything. You understand your AI won't understand all those aspects, and the solution will be very very common. Everyone has the same solution. There won't be a uniqueness. There won't be an identity. Everyone will have the same thing, and which will won't be valuable anyways.
Yeah, correct. Because it all becomes the expectation. It becomes the baseline, right? And I think it's important to say that AI is obviously developing quickly. We're learning just as much as everyone else. But it's just important to keep these things in mind. And we might be having a very different conversation in 5 years' time. But it's like, at this point in time, this is what we want to be making sure that we're moving forward with. We want to make sure we keep these things in mind. If we do, I think everyone will get the best out of it.
Thanks, guys, for joining in. Thanks for listening to us. And this was a very good conversation. We enjoyed it. I hope you guys will enjoy it as well. Thanks, Julian, for joining in.
Thanks. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's a wrap on this episode of The Disruptors. If you are serious about unlocking your ace factor, the thing that sets your business apart and helps it grow sustainably, don't forget to follow, share, and leave a quick review. We will be back next week with more real-world insights and no-flop conversations on how to rethink your systems, modernize operations, and build value that lasts. Until then, stay sharp, stay focused, and keep disrupting.